I'm Paul. I work for Quickbase and I work with our new product called Pave. And I want to show it to you today. Pave is a vibe coding project. That means it uses AI to help you create any app idea you have on top of Quickbase's unique proprietary in-memory database infrastructure. That was a lot of words. Let me break it down for you. Vibe coding is a relatively new phenomenon in the last year or so that lets people just use natural language to describe to AI an app they want, and it codes it for them. That's what Pave does. But where Pave is different is that in the back end, it's actually creating a database for you. Most vibe coding tools don't do that. They show you the front end, and then you have to connect other tools on the back end to have something that's actually production ready, that you can invite users to, that you can put online, and that you can add and remove data from outside of a local machine. Pave takes you from idea to online cloud-based user-ready app in one go. And that's because it's pulling from Quickbase's knowledge, infrastructure, and experience that we've developed over the last 2 decades on our core product, Quickbase. So Pave combines the power of AI coding and the infrastructure, security, governance, permissions, all of that production-ready stuff that we've built over the last 20 years. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. So let me give you a little bit of tour and show you an example of a Pave app. So when you first log into Pave, you can have a free account. It's not even a trial. It's truly a free account that you can keep forever. You don't have to put in a credit card, and we give you 20 AI credits. You can see this credit counter down in the bottom corner. As you work with the Pave agent and ask it to do work for you, it will draw from that pool of credits. If you need to buy extra credits, you can do that at any time, or you can subscribe for monthly credit allocations. But credits are just dollars, and as you make the AI work, it will use some of your credits, and you'll see them count down on the counter in the bottom corner. One way to think about it is if you were to go pay a developer to make an app for you, they would charge you per hour. The AI is charging you for its effort in a similar way. So you can watch as you interact with the AI how many credits it uses. So far, most people's first app take about 6 credits to make, and then they can use those additional credits to iterate or change or expand on their idea. Once your app is ready, you can also invite users into it. On the free account, you can have up to 3 users. And as you expand to our higher level subscriptions, you can have additional users and additional apps. But we're going to work within the free account for now. So let's build our first app. One thing to note is that Pave apps are business focused. A lot of vibe coding tools will let you make anything you want, and that's true of Pave too, but we're really focused on helping businesses create apps that help them run their business better. So a lot of our documentation and our examples and everything you'll see from us has that focus, because that's where our expertise is from Quickbase and everything we've done over the last 20 so years. So the example I'm going to show you today is a business app. I've written a little bit of a prompt here that you can see on screen. Maybe you've been reading it as I've been talking. We're going to make a capacity management app, basically. I want to see teams, team members, and what projects each team is on, and edit those projects so I can see, who has capacity, who can I give more work to, or maybe who's buried in too much work lately. This is a pretty simple prompt, but notice a few things about it. I described it, what my goal is. I described what I want to track, and I described a little bit of how I want to see these things on screen. Now, you can be more vague in your prompt. You can say pretty much just one sentence, and Pave will make something for you. But the more specific you are, the more precise you are, the more it'll match exactly what's in your head. So if you're seeing something in your head and you're seeing, I want to see certain buttons on screen in certain places, describe that, give it to Pave. Notice that you have a 10,000 character limit. So this first prompt can be pretty big. That being said, know that you can also iterate on it. So after you make your app, it's not one and done. You can keep talking to the agent and keep making tweaks and edits and updates. So you can start as vague or as specific as you want. I think I have a good middle ground here where I'm just describing kind of the data structure, but also a little bit of the visuals. So I'm going to go ahead and click go, and the Pave agent is going to start working. And while the Pave agent is working, I'm going to show you a few more features of Pave. So I clicked the button. It's asking for notifications. I'll go ahead and allow that because I could stand up and leave the room and then come back, or I could be switching to other tabs and I want it to play some kind of sound, let me know when it's done working. Now notice over here we have the main Pave chat. This is where the agent is telling me what it's doing and what it's working on. You'll notice right away that it's calling different agents. So Pave has different sub-agents that do different work for your app. So right now we're working on the schema agent, which is making the background database that's built on Quickbase infrastructure. We also have a layout agent that's working on the front end. Couple things to note while it's working. It's using a default theme over here on the top right. You can actually pick different themes. You can make different themes, and the theme editor is pretty robust. I'm actually going to switch this to the Pave theme right away. We're going to apply to the app. And then I'm going to go ahead and, even though, notice it keeps working while I'm clicking on stuff, I'm going to edit and show you everything that you can do with a theme. You can edit colors, you can, down here, you can edit typography, spacing, border, shadows, transitions. So if you really want to get granular about how your app should look and it should match your branding, you can do that. You can click to change all these things, or you can even chat with an agent here to have it update your theme. I've already spent time setting up this Pave theme. I don't need to edit anything. So I'm going to go back to all themes, and then I'm going to go back to my app. So we have this team workload dashboard. Notice there's, lots I can do. So my project's being worked on, but you can see it's already creating some of my loadout. And this is kind of a cool part of Pave. You can watch it kind of sketch your app as it, makes some decision. It puts some things on screen, and it's going to keep kind of adding coats of paint, as it were, to that as my app gets built more and more. Once my app is ready, I'll have the option to publish it up in the top corner here. When I publish an app, that version of the app goes live for any of its users. When I want to add users, I can do that over here in the user section. And you'll notice this new button. I can make additional views of the same app. We call those projects. So this is going to be one view using my backend data. I can make additional views or additional projects that give me different ways to interact with that same data. So even though it's one app, it can be multiple views. One way to think about it is multiple pages of a website that uses the same backend data. Other couple things to note while we're waiting for the agent to work. If you need help, we have a lot of documentation down here. So if you click this help button, you'll find all kinds of documentation. This is growing over time. We're still pretty new, but over time you'll see more and more articles published here. If you have feedback, you can click this feedback button, and this will come directly to our team so we can know what's going on. One thing to note on this, before you come to the feedback with any issues, go ahead and ask the agent. Say, hey, this doesn't look right. Hey, can you fix this? Can you change that? Most of the time, the agent will be able to fix things for you or answer questions for you. The feedback is for when you've tried a few times with the agent and it's still not looking right, and there might be a bug in the system. That's when you want to do feedback. Or if you have a feature request of something that you're not seeing anywhere in any menu or any screen, I really wish I could do this or that. Feedback is a great way to tell our team, hey, I'm looking for something different. Can you add it to the Pave product? Our agent's still working, so I'll walk you through a couple other things. Even after the initial prompt, you can come down here, and in additional prompts, you can attach files. So if you have reference files, branding documents, other data you want to bring in, you can attach that. You can add data through a spreadsheet. So you can say, here's my spreadsheet. This is data I want you to add to my existing app. This screenshot button is really cool. Once your app has a first version, you can click that screenshot button and it'll screenshot your current app for you, and it'll put it in the chat so you can describe specifically, hey, this screen is what I'm looking at. this part of the screen isn't working. There's also a select element button and a direct edit button. These buttons let you select a part of the screen and either chat with the agent about it, or in some cases, the direct edit button lets you select an element of the screen and directly edit its properties, its colors, its text, things like that, just like you would in a typical website builder. Some things are just easier to do by clicking and typing rather than chatting with an agent. And so things that are best to do that way, we want to give you that option. So you don't have to chat with the agent for everything you're trying to do. Over here, you'll see under data, tables and relationships. Let's see if we have any tables. We have the tables I would expect based on my prompt: teams, team members, and projects. So it made those tables for us. I can view the data in these tables, and I can even edit the data in these tables right away. And then also relationships. It'll show us relationships between different tables in my app. And just like I described, we have teams that have multiple team members and team members that have multiple projects. Pretty simple app on purpose just for our demonstrations, but it made the tables and the relationships exactly as I described, exactly as I expected. Down here in users, once my app is ready to go, here's where I can add additional users. Users can be in certain roles. You'll see if you upgrade your plan, you can change roles or create custom roles with different access and different level of permission. By default, you have administrator and participant. Down here in settings, you can change some basic settings. Takes me back to the home screen for now because our app isn't up and running. App hasn't been deployed yet. Let me go back and go into the editor. It was trying to open my existing app. So if I go back to the editor, project's still being worked on, keep this tab open. And so see, now this is cool. So it deployed my app and it immediately noticed some issues. So we see the UI agent fix styling issues, fixing interface. So before it tells me that it's all the way done, it's going to go and actually test a few things on its own, and then it's going to fix them without even me having to do anything. Oh, and I heard a little chime saying my app is ready. So it says click the publish button if you want to publish it. But right here, we can start to manage some things. So let's try engineering. It says there's 4 team members. It says no team members found for the team. So it looks like this might be a bug. Let's go ahead and tell the agent that. The teams say they have members, but I don't see any team member cards. For instance, the design team says 3 total members, but then in the team member interface, it says no team members found. Okay, so I've described the issue just by what I saw on screen, and it immediately says I see the issue. The team selector is showing member counts, but when you switch teams, no members are appearing. Let me check what's happening with the data loading. So now it's going to deploy some subagents to see what's going on. But we can see if I click add team member, it's going to show me a team member form here, just like I would expect. So there's just some issue going on with actually the team members displaying here, but it made some records for me. Once we're up and running, you can actually delete these sample records, but just for ease of trying out the app it made for me, it's going to make some sample records. It's going to do this on pretty much any app you work on. Okay, so it's making some changes. So it took my view away just for a second, and it's going to come back, hopefully, with a fix. You can see down here it says saving iteration. Now detected details for debugging, send it to an agent. So when it says saved an iteration like that, I can actually go back and restore any of my saved iterations using this restore button up here, or even clicking in the chat. And you see just now it kind of highlights when I hover over it, I can actually restore back to that point. So if the agent ever goes off and does something that you didn't quite want, you can restore back to a previous point, and that won't take any of your credits to restore what it was before. And you can see my credit usage is being marked over here. We're about 7 credits in. And once it works through this fix, we should have our first working version of the app. There we go. We see some of our team members. So it found and it fixed the issue. So it was something with how it was querying the data. Okay, so now we have Alex Kim, a UI designer, Emily Taylor, Jordan Martinez. When I go into engineering, I see some people. When I go to marketing, I see some people. And sales. So let's go back to our design team. I'm going to click on Alex here. Alex doesn't have any projects. So let's add a project for Alex. Since Alex is design, let's just say design a new app as his first project. Let's say that starts today, and it's going to go for just 1 week because he's making the app with Pave, and it's not going to take long at all. We're going to say this takes 4 hours per week. Well, per week, it's probably going to be more like 20. Create the project. And then when I click on Alex now, I don't see that project that I added. Interesting. Let's refresh preview. And that project I created is not showing up. What's going on? I'm going to tell the agent I added a project to Alex Kim. No, I don't see the project connected to Alex when I Alex's card. I'll add some debug logging to see what's happening. So I'm going to go check the tables while it works on that and see if we definitely have new projects. There's my design a new app project. So it's there, it's just not finding it in the front end for some reason. So we'll go back here and see what it's doing. All right, I already found the issue, and it's making an update. You can also see the app is using my Pave theme. There's lots of green and gray, just like I told it to use. Now it's checking the code. And there we go, iteration saved like I talked about. So I could pop back to these iterations, or I could click this restore and I could go back to any of the previous versions. So now I click on Alex, and there we go. There's our projects. It looks like I can't edit a project from here. I told it we should be able to do that. So I can go back and tell it that. Let's add a new project, make sure that's working. Design a second app. And I'll say that starts today and will take 2 weeks, and we'll take 10 hours per week. Create project. There we go. It popped up right away. I want a way to edit projects. When I'm viewing a team member's projects. Then it just says I'll add edit functionality to the project cards in the member detail panel. So that's going off and running with that. You can also see the workload calculations aren't really working as expected. So we have Alex's capacity at 35 hours, but it's not actually calculating that. So that's something else I would iterate on. Oh, here we go. Working on it. You also see it gave our app a name just based off what I asked for. You can edit this name, and you can actually edit the icon for your app. You can generate an icon, or you can bring an icon in if you want to do that. You can share themes. You can here you can edit the setting to automatically send those errors or not. If you don't want it to automatically detect errors like I was talking about earlier, you can turn that off. Let's see what it's doing here. It's working on it for us. Okay, so it's perfect. I've added a full edit functionality to the project cards. Found something else it's trying to fix for us automatically. I'll fix that issue right away. So it found something as it was trying to deploy it for us, and it's going ahead and fixing it. This is a moment where, you might step up and go grab yourself a drink or something, come back, because it's working for you. Now it says your app is ready. So let's click on Alex, and there's our little pencil icon. Now I can edit this project. Perfect. I can add a new team member. A couple things I'm noticing that I would do next. I can't actually edit Alex himself. So that's probably another thing I'd want to add, but let's see if we can get this workload calculation working. The workload calculation doesn't appear to be working, even though members have projects. The workload is showing as 0% and 0 hours for all team members. All right, this will probably be the last thing we fix for now, and then we'll wrap up our video here. Let's see what we get. So now it's going and looking at that field, checking the formulas. Says it found a problem. Okay. Summary field is using the wrong configuration. Let me check what field it should be summarizing. So now it's telling me what it needs to change. Okay. Great. Now the workload calculation should be working correctly. Try refreshing your view or selecting a different team. So I'm going to refresh my view here. Still not seeing it. Okay, so this is something I would need to continue to iterate it on. Only include active project where start date is greater than the day, end date is greater than today. Display the total as the current workload hours. let's go look at our table. Team members field. Other product hours, workload percentage. Yeah, that's on a 0 for everybody. So this is something we'd want to, let's try one more time. So I go back to my app. Say the workload is still showing as 0 for everyone. The workload should be, how exactly should we want to calculate this? It should be percentage so, okay. The workload should be how many hours they are working this week based on their current projects. They're based on projects that are active this week. Start and end date based on start and end date. Based on projects that are active this week based on start and end date. And the current workload percentage should be based on workload this week divided by capacity. All right, so I gave it a little more direct steering of telling it exactly what I want those fields to be. So first it's checking some basic things. Are these things connected as expected? That's good. And then it'll take what I input and we'll see if we can get it working here. The projects are linked to team members, but I need to check the summary field configuration more carefully. The problem is that the summary field reference might be pointing in the wrong direction. Okay. Okay, so it's checking if it works. Okay, found some things it needs to change and try differently. Schema agent doing some real work here. Streaming records, looking at things, adjusting things. Take a drink while my agent's working for me. All right, there we go. We have capacity. So it did a lot of work in the background for us, and things are coming together here. And notice the red styling when it's over 100%. That's a nice touch. All right, and now it's asking to delete some extra fields that it knows it no longer needs. But since delete is a pretty uh, sensitive action to take, it is asking for my approval before it deletes anything. So I could deny it. I could say, hey, don't delete those. But I'm going to go ahead and let it delete because I trust the agent. So it's going to delete some fields, clean some things up for me, and that should be ready to go. So I did a check. Now it's saving the iteration. And here we go. We have our app. So I'm going to go ahead and delete, design a second app for Alex. And we'll see his capacity change. Wow, he's got a lot of work. So I'm going to go ahead and he doesn't have to design that other app I gave him. Now he's at 86. Notice the yellow styling. So there you go. We have our first iteration of our app. So it did take some work with the agent. I had to steer it a little bit. I had to talk to it. But now we have our teams, we have their capacity, and we could check, who's working on what. And I can add new things, take away things, and now I could manage my team with this app. It did take a little more credits than I said, but I gave it a lot of steering and a lot of help. So now I could go publish this. I could add in users, and I could start to manage my team members. And that's Pave. In just a few minutes, I went from nothing to a fully functioning team member and project management app. And that's the vision. Whatever app you want to make, you can do it with Pave. Thanks for watching.